In the name of Almighty Allah, who is the most beneficent and the most merciful. Dear learners, this is Norin Nawaz, your English teacher, and today I'm here with my video lecture on the poem Ozymandias, composed by Percy Bysshe Shelley, and it is also a part of intermediate syllabus. Today in this video lecture, I'll discuss with you the theme of the poem, the synonyms of the difficult words, and the explanation of both the stanzas. I will also mention you the important questions at the end. Dear viewers, if you like my video, then do subscribe to my channel, English with Norin Nawaz. And if you have already subscribed it, please don't forget to share it with your family and friends. First of all, I would like to tell you that Ozymandias is a sonnet, and sonnet means a poem which is having 14 lines. One thing more, dear learners, that this Ozymandias was a pharaoh, and it was the tradition of the Egyptian pharaohs that they used to ask their sculptors to make a sculpture of them and write about their mighty works on a pedestal and put it in the desert so that the travelers might read them and get impressed. So let's start with the theme first of all. So what is the theme and the context of Ozymandias? Ozymandias is a poem about a proud and arrogant king. This poem tells that no matter how much wealth, power, strength you have, eventually everything comes to an end. Death is a great leveler. Man is mortal. Nothing beside remains. Time brings an end to power, grandeur, and pride of Ozymandias. He was a cruel king and used to treat the people mercilessly. He used to hate them, he used to mock them, but after his death, even his sculpture is shattered, even his sculpture is not left in full form. Now let's see what is there in stanza 1. In stanza 1, the poet Percy Bysshe Shelley says that I met a traveler from an antique land who said, two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert, and near them on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions read, which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. Now, first of all, see the synonyms of the difficult words of first stanza. Antique is ancient and old. Vast is huge and gigantic. Trunkless, without main body part. Sunk, concealed, shattered, broken. Visage is face and countenance. Frown is wrinkle and crease. Sneer is scorn and contempt. Cold is inhuman and merciless. Command is order. Sculptor is engraver and inscriber. Survive is remain and exist. Stamp is print and inscribe. Mock is laugh at and ridicule. Fed is boat. Now, what you will write in the reference, you will write that these lines have been taken from the poem Ozymandias, written by or composed by Percy Bysshe Shelley. Now, explanation of this first stanza is, in these lines, the poet describes the picture of a broken statue of a vain and proud king. The poet met a traveler who was from some primitive, some old land. He told the poet that in the desert he saw two trunkless legs standing in the desert. and its broken face was half sunken in the sand. But the expression of pride, power, authority, arrogance, and hatred were quite obvious from the half buried face of the statue, which shows that the sculptor was adept in his art and he observed those negative feelings of Ozymandias quite well. Those feelings were still alive on the lifeless things, means on his sculpture. And there was lying his hand in the sand, which used to make fun of all, and his heart was exhausted of his people when he was in power. And what is stanza 2? Stanza 2 says, and on the pedestal these words appear. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away. Very important lines these are. So, what are the synonyms of the difficult words of stanza 2? Mighty means powerful. Despair is disappointment. Pedestal is base and foundation. Decay is decline and decomposition. Colossal is huge and gigantic. Wreck is ruin and destruction. Boundless is limitless. Bare is barren and blank. Lone is isolated. Level is smooth, even, and equal. And stretch is spread. What is the explanation of this second stanza? In these lines, the poet says that in that desert, near the broken sculpture of Ozymandias, there was a base on which some words were carved. And all these things a traveler is telling him. What is this? That there was a base on which some words were carved, where he claimed that he was the king of the kings and that everyone should be impressed by great works done by him and should be disappointed as well. Why they should be disappointed? Because nobody could be able to do mighty works like them. The inscribed words show that the king's life was splendid and there was no match of him. He was matchless. But poet says the time is a great leveler and finally brings an end to all the might, pride, and arrogance. And the same happened to Ozymandias. Now, around the huge destruction of the statue of Ozymandias, only sand is stretched till miles. All his achievements have gone to dust. The poet wants to say, the poet wants to convey a message to all of us that we should be humble and polite. Moreover, power or wealth should not make us proud because nothing is immortal. So this was our explanation of stanza number 2. And now let us discuss important questions. First important question of the poem Ozymandias is, what is the theme or the central idea of the poem Ozymandias? And you can say that you can answer this question like, in this poem, the poet highlights the idea that all feelings of superiority in man are only an illusion. Time brings an end to all leisure, pride, and splendor of man. The broken statue of the king reflects that death is a great leveler and nothing is immortal in this world. So another very important question is, what did the traveler see in the desert? And you can answer this question like, the traveler saw two huge trunkless legs of a statue in the desert. Its face was half buried there. It was a statue of a vain and proud king, Ozymandias. The most important question of the poem is what was written on the pedestal? What was written on the base? You can say on the pedestal was written the two exact lines from the poem you will take. What was written on the pedestal? My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. And another question of this poem is why did the traveler admire the sculptor? So why did the because he you can because the sculptor did his work very well. The sculptor was adept in his work. You can say that statue was a masterpiece. Its facial expressions were shown by frown on the face and wrinkled lips. It revealed pride, anger, vanity, and authority of Ozymandias. The skillful sculptor brought out the real personality of the king. So you can handle these questions like this. And with these words, I finish my video lecture. So dear viewers, thank you very much. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, English with Norin Nawaz. And here I would like to finish my lecture.